Hi everybody, this is John DeCook for Building Geek Cred, brought to you as always by the Werewolf and Borg. Remember to like and subscribe down below so we can continue to bring you great content like this. On this episode, we're going to be playing through the game Bardsung. We're actually learning it, so it'll kind of be a stumble through it tutorial as we go. And with here today are my crew of players. If you'd introduce yourself, please.
Hey, I'm Nick Worsham.
Hi, Sarah Worsham.
Chris Kresge.
These are all people that I've known forever, mostly because I'm related to all of them, but it's good to have them here. The idea here is Bardsung is played as kind of campaign style. It's going to be a series of adventures, and the four of us want to play through all of them together. So it'll be about once a month. Hopefully we'll be putting one of these together, publishing it, and getting it out. Look for new ones every Wednesday about 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Let's get started. This is the setup for Bardsung. We've got a central board here. As we go, we're going to be building with tiles. And what the game is telling us, if you look at the instructions, you can see sort of dividing lines on the tiles that divide it into zones. So for instance, this tile has two zones, this side of the greenish line, and then this side. Movement's measured in zones. We're going to be using a whole series of dice. You pass those across, please, Nick. So these are fairly standard. Anybody who plays role-playing games, you've got dice with 20 sides, 12 sides, 10, 8, 6, and 4. Most dice are easy to read. Whatever number comes up on top is what you get. Four-sided die is a little bit unusual. It's triangular. Whatever number is on the top of the pyramid when you roll it, for instance, that's a 3. That's the number that you get. In combat, you're normally going to be rolling a 20-sided die for your action. If you have what's called advantage or disadvantage, you will roll 2. On advantage, you'll take the higher number, in this case 14. If you have disadvantage, you take the lower, in this case 9. So that's the basics of combat. There's a lot that we've got to learn here, so we are going to work our way through the introduction and the combat tutorial as listed in the book so we can figure out how to play the game. So first things first, everybody's got a game tray here. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know what a fanatic I am about these things. They're just wonderful for organizing, keeping them straight. This is actually your hero dashboard. So the hero card's going to lie in here, and then we're going to be able to put additional, looks like powers, things are going to modify what we're doing there. And then we have hands of cards that go to either side of it. So we're going to work out exactly how to do that as we work through this. So first things first, we're going to have to pick out heroes, it looks like. So we have 5 different heroes are possible in the game. I don't know what any of them do, but we have the Stone Hart, who's somebody with a mohawk and a gigantic hammer. We have the Light Weaver, who is using a spear. The Dawn Guard, who is using a mace. And the Night Feather, who appears to be some sort of a bird person with a small dagger. And finally, a Wild Shell, who looks like a tortoise folk. Oh. So, preferences on which character you would like to be?
I do enjoy birds.
All right. I would say the Dawn Guard looks like an orc based on the artwork there. So would you like to be the Night Feather?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Sounds
Sarah
lovely.
selected Night Feather. Nick, who do you want to be? Oh, there you go.
The Smashing Stoneheart.
All right. Chris, what do you think?
Either or's fine.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and take the Wild Shell. There should be 2 left, the Light Weaver and the Dawn Guard.
There's the Light Weaver.
Now set our character card right there.
You said the Light Weaver and...
The Dawn Guard should be the 2 that remain for you to choose from.
Yeah.
Now the hero card tells you several things about them. So first of all, you've got their name up here at the top, Wild Shell. Down the side, there's footprints, that's your movement. We've got a shield, that is their resilience. So when they are attacked, that modifies the attack roll. You've got their grit, which is the number of wounds they can take. If they ever take wounds equal to or higher than this number, they're defeated. On the other side, you have an attack range, tells you how far away they can attack. In this case, the Wild Shell can attack 2 away. And then the damage they do, in this case, the Wild Shell has a 1 die 4 of damage. So each of the characters is going to be different in this regard. So obviously the Wild Shell has some magic. They can attack up to 2 zones away, whereas the Night Feather looks like it has a range of 0, so it has to be in the same zone, but the Night Feather does more damage with 1 die 6. So each character is going to be different with each of these stats. While Stoneheart gets a die 8 for damage. That's very good. And you chose the Dawn Guard.
1 die 6.
Die 6 also. So damage is going to vary between the characters. Down at the bottom, there's also a little bit of flavor text. In this case, the Wild Shell says it is a Soul Seer. When an enemy in the same zone as a ghost token gains a condition token, replenish 1 fate. And we'll learn what all that means going forward. So how about your Night Feather?
I have Isolated Target. If the hero critically hits an enemy that is the only enemy in the zone, replenish 1 fate.
Stoneheart has Virtuoso. If this hero hits with 2 different attacks during their turn, replenish 1 fate.
All right.
Mine simply says I start with Guiding Strike, Steadfast, and Fear of God.
Oh, the other side has the on the bottom.
When this hero attacks, pushes an enemy out of the zone containing another hero and replenishes 1 fate.
And there you go.
Excellent. So on the back of the card, Chris already alluded to that, you get your starting abilities and your starting equipment for each of the characters. And on top of that, it has some symbols on the side here. So for instance, the Wild Shell has +2 to intelligence, their mental acuity, and they also have +1 armor. So take a look at the Night Feather. Night Feather has a +2 in their dexterity and a +1 in wisdom.
I want to say the Stoneheart has +2 to strength and a +1 to armor.
That looks like it. That's actually, I'm sorry, it's Constitution. Is
Constitution.
the other one. Yeah, it looks like armor. It's Constitution. And you've got a +2 on your Dawn Guard.
Yes.
It's like a mask.
Okay, the mask symbol is Charisma. And then the other side, if it looks like armor, that's your Constitution.
+1.
All right, so we'll need to get all of that equipment and all of those abilities set up before we play. So equipment cards are what we're going to need to check our equipment. So every hero has 2 pieces of equipment, and they either have a weapon symbol or an armor symbol on them. So I'm going to need a Driftwood Staff and Druidic Focus, please. All right. So when you take a look at these cards, they're going to be, oh nice, they're color-coded as well. That's kind of a nice thing. So you know which
Raven's
character
Tall.
they belong to them right away.
Thank you.
So the Driftwood Staff shows a helmet on one side and a 1, looks like under an archway on the other side. So we're going to cover this later in the information. So you also start with 2 ability cards. I'll let you finish getting those taken care of.
Did you have abilities?
Yes, my starting abilities are Poltergeist, Curse, and Premonition. But Premonition has an asterisk by it, so perhaps that comes later. So as we take a look at these cards, again, there's lots and lots of information on them. So ability cards show the name of the ability, of course.
I have
And-
Piercing Strike, yes.
Tells you whether this is an attack or a skill. This has got a sword, it's an attack. Curse also has a sword. In that location, it is an attack. So if your first symbol on that first row is a sword, it's an attack. Does anyone have that's not a sword? No? Alright. Actually, your Sun Shield has something. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at equipment. We're looking at the ability cards at the moment.
Okay.
Alright. From there, wow, these are double-sided also.
Yeah, I was going to ask what's the difference. I mean, obviously they have different things, but
Correct. So the one side shows, well, actually they look like they're not identical. They're 2 different things. We're gonna have to figure that out as we go. One side is 1 and one side is 2 down in the corner. You can
That
take a
is
look
true.
at that. So
maybe you
it must be
upgrade
you're
it.
upgrading these as you go through the game. So
That makes sense.
yeah. So I have nothing filled in over here on Poltergeist. That would be the fate cost if they need a fate token to be used. Using an ability cost fate, you have to spend your fate tokens. So that's where the regain or replenish your fate comes in on the others. Down below, you've got your attack profile, your hit row, and your critical roll. So it tells you what happens there. If there's any special rules on it, in this case it's blank, but curse is not blank down there. Curse actually has some text on it that tells us what it does. Finally, down in the corner, you've got a trigger ability, whether it's active or passive. All starting abilities are active, so the little hurricane type symbol means an active ability. And then finally, what level it is. Ability cards always start at level 1. There we go. Read a little further. Got it. In the end, you suffer a wound. You draw a wound card from the deck, put it next to your dashboard. Once you have wounds equal to your starting grit, you are defeated. So everybody has a marching order. Every model has an initiative card. The initiative card is used to determine where they are in the starting order. Enemy cards are shuffled together with the hero cards, but in this case they said they're just going to show us how to do this. So the initiative cards will kind of look like us. There'll be a number up in the corner there. So you shuffle the cards together, deal them in marching order to form a row from left to right. Take a brigand card. We're going to put that in the middle of the row. So it's going to attack after the first person goes. So I guess these are our initiative cards. Thank you. And there's also nifty figures that come with this game too. So got a pretty neat little turtle guy there. All right, so we need one brigand card, please. You've got one right there. So put your initiative cards in the middle here. We're gonna. Oh, I want to shuffle the brigand in there though. So we're gonna shuffle those together. Deal them out from left to right. So we got the Stone Heart. And put the brigand in the second spot. The Night Feather, Wild Shell, and finally the Dawn Guard. That's going to be our marching order for this fight. That says the game takes place over rounds and turns. A round is a number of turns equal to the number of initiative cards. So we play 5 turns, that's 1 round. If it's finished its turn, we turn the card sideways so we know that it's gone. And that way the card is called exhausted. Just continue down the row till everybody's had a chance to go. When that's done, we do what's called the end phase. And in this combat tutorial, all we need to do is reshuffle the initiative cards, deal a new marching order for the next round. So that's interesting. We're going to change initiative between every single round. All right, on your turn, you can move, attack, and use skills. Heroes and enemies use the marching order. Turns are resolved differently. So on a hero turn, you get 2 actions. You're going to have to move and use ability here. You can use the same action more than once. You could move twice. You could do an ability action twice. You can do one of each if you want to do that. You may also skip. Zones get moved up your speed. So again, the Wild Shell has a speed of 2. The Night Feather has a speed of
3.
The Stone Heart speed is
2.
And your Lightbringer on the other side of the card, or other side of the card. Sorry, Dawn Guard. You're not the Lightbringer.
2.
Speed of 2. Okay. So again, remember that's zones, right? So for instance, on this card, I don't get to go from this tile to this tile. I have to move 1, 2 across the tile as I go. There is no limit to how many models fit in a zone. They're reminding us that. Parting blows. If a hero attempts to leave a zone with 1 or more enemies, they get a parting blow. A hero suffering a parting blow must make a parting blow roll, which is an action roll they add to their defense value. After applying modifiers, all right, we got that. If there's more heroes than enemy in the zones, the parting roll has advantage. If there's more enemies than heroes, it has a disadvantage. So in other words, if your whole group is leaving, you're in better shape because you're helping to kind of stop the enemies from attacking. All right, so then we got our ability cards. We have the ability to use these. We get 1 of each of those. A skill card has a symbol. It's like a person with a halo around their head. And then the attack card has the sword, which everybody has at this point. And then we make an attack roll there. So the attack property, as you go across your second symbol, this kind of looks like a swirl of magic. And go ahead and look at yours. So that is a physical attack because it looks like a weapon. I'm assuming both of yours are physical attacks. It's like crossed weapons. But mine are both magic, which again makes sense because I can attack at a distance. You guys need to be in the same zone. Next to that, the third one over tells you which characteristic it uses. And so, are there any kind of reference cards for the game, Chris, that tell you what the different symbols mean? Just Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't believe so.
Okay, so bent arm is strength, boots is dexterity, the armor is constitution, a head with a star in it is, or a bust, I guess, with a star in it is intelligence, a book is wisdom, and the mask is charisma. So both of mine key off of intelligence, which is good because my guy's got good intelligence, and so on. You got hit effects if the attack hits, critical effects if you make a critical hit, and then there's any special rules that go with it. Choose an enemy, attack them, make your roll, apply your characteristic modifiers, compare it to the enemy's TN it says, which is going to be a target number. I'm going to say TN stands for. If you hit, if your attack roll fails, you miss, nothing else happens. If you make it, they've been hit, make a damage roll. Again, we use the die on our profile for that. Apply relevant modifiers. If it does not equal or exceed the enemy's toughness, the enemy suffers the hit effects. If it equals to or exceeds, then they get a critical hit. So if you make the hit, you're always going to hit. And so your critical hits have nothing to do with your first die roll. It has to do with the damage that you roll. If you roll a 20 on your attack roll, you automatically inflict a critical hit. I was wrong. And a damage roll is not needed. Finally, ability effects. A heart with a crack in it is a wound. A circle arrow is a dodge. A straight arrow is push, which means you get, so we'll go through a wound. They suffer a wound. Dodge, the attacking model can be placed into an adjacent zone. Straight arrow is push. The target can be placed in an adjacent zone. We got one looks like kind of a harp with a plus on it. It says inspire. Flip an exhausted fate token to the active side. A sword says weaken. Target gains a weaken token. When they make an attack, the hero makes a defense roll with advantage. Then that gets discarded. It looks like something being broken in half, maybe a bone. It's called Bane. Target gets a Bane token. And when you're attacking somebody with a Bane token, you get advantage on the attack. Looks like a nail going into a board. It's called Pinned. When marching order is shuffled, the card with the pin token is left where it occupies, and it doesn't get changed in the order. After the new marching order is dealt, get rid of that. A four-leaf clover is a blessing. If you have a blessing token, you make an action roll with advantage. Finally, enemies. We've got their name, their movement, their target number. I'm sorry, this is their target number, 9 in this case. Their speed, their toughness, their grit. When they suffer 2 wounds, that's what happens to the enemy. Gold value is over here. That's how much money we earn for beating them. And finally, their attack profile down below here. In this case, this is very simple. He's got a 0 in his targeting reticle, and on a hit, he inflicts a wound on people. A behavior trait is down here in the corner, which says what behavior card it follows during its turn. And then we've got any special rules. In this case, he has none. And finally, what type of enemy he is. If you suffer a wound, place a wound token next to their model. So that's your figure on the board. And then if you suffer another wound, refer to their grit entry to see what happens. So in this case, if he gets wounded twice, he dies because he has skull and crossbones there. Once all enemies are defeated of the same type, their card comes out of there. On their turn, all the enemies share the same card in the marching order, and they behave according to this. So there should be a series of behavior cards with slashes on them, so or with other symbols on them, so we need the one with the double slash, because it tells us what he does. So in this case, he is a ferocious enemy, it says. He will attack a hero in the same zone. If not, he'll charge a hero in another zone, in an unengaged zone. If not, he'll charge a hero in an engaged zone. If not, he'll move toward the closest hero. So that says what he does depending on what's going on there. And then there's some other information about mandatory versus conditional. So on an attack, they roll an attack roll, and so on. Preferred target. Sometimes they have a preferred target they're going to attack first, and that will be the end of the hero that they will target. So it'll say Wild Shell or Night Feather, what have you, on that. And then finally, on rare occasions, you might come across a rules conflict. In that case, cards take precedence over the rule book. Okay, so we're going to try to fight this out. I didn't see where it said to set up any particular tiles, but
I believe this deck right here was says stop if you're playing the combat tutorial.
all right.
It looks like there's some sort of setup here.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Combat tutorial tile. I'm sorry, I did miss that. So what we want is this tile right here. Put that in the middle of the board. And starting in the zone containing the rune and working clockwise. Oh, start here, sorry. Oh, each hero picks a zone of their choice on the tile. So go ahead and place your hero anywhere on there. All right. I'll be by the door. Now, starting with the zone containing the rune and working clockwise, place a brigand model in each zone that doesn't contain a hero until there's an equal number of brigands and heroes. So all 4 of the remaining zones are going to have brigands in them. There's more enemies in empty zones. Alternate placing additional enemies between the center zone and the zone with the rune. Take the brigand enemy card, each hero's initiative card, place them side by side. I already did that. So on top of that, we place 3 fate tokens in this track, so that's what that's going to be used for. So we need 3 face up. So that's the yellow B for Bardsung. If there's more than 3 heroes, add an extra token per hero. So we need 4 heroes total. I'm sorry, 4 tokens total. And they're the Bardsung tokens. Alright, so while Chris grabs that, let's read the intro. It's called Arriving in Town. For many moons now, you've heard tales of woe from this region. First, only as the odd story told by a bitter merchant, bemoaning lost goods stolen by bandits. But as months continued, the stories become both more frequent and steadily more concerning. Tales of entire villages being attacked and pillaged. The inhabitants struggling to fight off organized groups of bandits as their family and friends are dragged off into the night. It was not long before you resolved to journey here, not only for the potential of gold and glory, but to appease a troubled conscience. These people deserve a better life than one under the shroud of terror. The town is quiet when you arrive, which is strange, for the sun has not long set, and even sleepy villages like this one entertain lively evenings. But as your footsteps take you through the empty streets, there's little movement beyond the occasional door creaking open and shut on the wind, and jagged blankets of sleet as the wind frisks the snow-capped buildings. Eventually, your path leads to the Five Corners Tavern, a surprisingly large and well-appointed building akin to what you might expect in a much more developed settlement. Inside is as lifeless as the desolate streets, and suddenly a measure of doubt creeps into your minds. Perhaps there was an attack which claimed the village while you've been on the road, and you're too late. Or, what if the stories that brought you here had been delayed by so many months that this place has long become a lonely ghost town? You push these unwelcome thoughts away. Such fears are not from mighty heroes. Even if they prove to be true, then retribution shall be visited upon the bandits that have brought such woe upon the goodly people of this hamlet. Yet, before any further search can be undertaken or righteous oath sworn, the peace is broken. Raucous laughing cuts through the air, quickly followed by splintering glass as stones pelt the building. Moments later, several figures burst across the threshold, wearing cowls, not to stave off the weather, but to hide their identities as cutthroats most foul. It's time to bear steel and drive these villains away. You're eager to see justice done this evening. So we are going to do our best to fight this out. Alright, actually one more thing we need to do. We do need icons for each of the 6 characteristics.
That's what I was wondering about.
Alright, so we got the tile set up. We had to populate it with brigands everywhere that we were not. We've got our initiative order, and what we did was shuffle the cards up, make sure the brigand was in 2nd position. So we're going to go according to that. Stoneheart's going to go first. 2 actions. Nick, what's it going to be?
I'm going to move over here. I'm going to give it a... I'm going to use my balanced strength.
Okay, so he's rolling against the brigand's target number of 9. With a 3 on the dice, plus your modifier of 2 makes it a 5. Missed the target number, so that is not even a hit. And that was your 2 actions. So Stoneheart is gone. Now all the brigands are going to go. The brigands in order are going to attack somebody in their own zone, or charge somebody that's not engaged, or charge somebody who is engaged, and finally they'll just move. So this one's in the zone with the Stoneheart. Stoneheart's going to get attacked. In this case, in the game, there are no active attacks for the creatures. You are doing an active defense roll instead. So roll your defense roll. Again, looking at that target number. This time you roll an 8, but you get to add your defense, and the defense on the card is here, so 8 plus 2 is 10. That means 10 exceeds the target number of 9. The brigand misses the Stoneheart on that attack. So the other 3 are each going to take a turn. They're going to go to somebody who's unengaged. So right now the Night Feather's not engaged. His brigand's going to move in to that zone, and that's a charge, so he's going to attack. So if you roll your defense, please, Sarah.
10.
10 plus your defense of
11,
1 makes
yes.
it 11. 11 beats 9. Nothing happens there. This one will charge into my zone, the Wild Shell. I get a 20 on the die, so no effect there. And the last one is going to charge on the Dawn Guard. So, Chris, your defense roll, please.
5 plus 1 is 6.
6 will miss. So that is going to be a hit. A hit gives you 1 wound. So put 1 wound in your tray to represent that you've got that wound on you. And that is going to be it. So all the brigands have gone. Night Feather, you are on 2 actions.
All right. Well, he's already in my spot, so I'm going to go ahead and hit him with Piercing Strike, which is a crit.
20 on the die. So again, there's 2 ways to get critical hits in this game. When you're rolling for damage, if you equal or exceed the creature's target or their defense number, then it's a crit. Otherwise, a 20 on the die is automatic. So no need to even roll damage. You get to run the whole critical roll line there. So what's your critical line?
He takes 2 damage, which knocks him out.
All right, 2 damage immediately kills him. So what else have you got?
And then I can dodge, so I will go in your space.
All right, so dodge allows you to move into an adjacent zone.
And then I can taunt him.
All right.
And I got 5. Plus 2 is 7, which
So
is
that's going to miss the target. All right, Night Feather's down.
Did either of those cost fate?
No. None of mine do.
All right, yeah, that's a good point. So remember, when you're looking at these cards, if this last one on the line on your action card has the Bardsung symbol in it, which is here, it will cost a fate. We've flipped these down. This is a shared tracker. We've got 4 to use. So in this case, it didn't do that. So it is my turn now. So I am first of all going to try to curse. I'm going to try to curse the guy over here in the Dawn Guard zone, because I know the Dawn Guard's going next. I get a 12. Plus 2 is 14, exceeds the brigands. So he's going to get hit, and I'll check damage here. 2 points of damage plus my 2, so that's 4. 4 hits that, so this is a critical. So first thing, he's going to take a wound. If we can get a wound token on this guy, please. And second thing, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put my ghost tokens out. Let me back up. Ghost tokens out here. Each zone gets 1. So he's in one with a zone with that ghost in it, so I'm going to give him Bane, which will give the Dawn Guard advantage on that attack. And on top of that, because he took a condition token, we'd be able to get a fate back. We don't need to do that. But that's the Wild Shell's ability. So that's 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and use Poltergeist on the guy in my zone. I roll a 16, plus 2 is 18. That's going to hit. Damage roll, I got a 1, so that's 3 total. All I can do is push him. So I'm going to go ahead and push him into that center zone. So he's out of my zone. And that is it for me. All right, Dawn Guard, you're on. Chris, what's up?
Okay, so my one ability is to target either myself or another hero to be pinned, which is going to keep them in the initiative where they are at for the next round. So I will go ahead and pin the Stoneheart to remain in first place initiative.
Excellent.
And then I will do my Guiding Strike, which is an attack with my weapon. That would be a 7 plus 2 would be 9. So
that is a hit.
Do make a hit with that. So that is going to
do your damage roll first, remember? And you're looking for 4 or better on that.
6.
That becomes a critical hit then.
So that will do damage as well as a push, and then if we had spent any fate, it would flip a fate out.
But the second damage kills him.
Second damage is going to
Yep,
kill
so
him.
he's out of there. Bane token's gone. I forgot you had advantage on him too. You didn't need it because you hit anyway, but would have had advantage. All right.
I also do think your Steadfast did cost a fate, so it would have used a fate, and then we would have gotten one back.
You have the level 1 side or level 2 side, Johnny?
This is
level 1.
level 1.
Yep, it does cost a fate. You're right.
Okay.
All right, so steadfast cost a fate, but you got the fate
My
back.
crit
For that.
got it back.
Yep. All right, so that's it for the Dawn Guard. We've all gone. So end of the round, we go ahead and gather up all the initiative cards except the Stoneheart, because Stoneheart's pinned. Shuffle them up, reset everybody. I will collect my ghost tokens back off the board. All right. So, brigands are up first. So the one that's in there with the Stoneheart's going to attack the... I'm sorry, Stoneheart's up first. Go ahead. So we'll get your pinned token back. There you go.
I'm going to use a balance strike. That's going to hit.
All right.
Roll my
Damage.
D8. 3 plus 2 is 5.
All right, so that exceeds, so it becomes a critical hit.
I do 2 wounds to him.
All right, so he drops automatically.
And then I will use my second action to just move in with that guy.
All right, so that's it for that brigand. There's only one in there. He's going to attack you. Give us that defense roll.
A 6 plus 1, so he does hit me.
7, he does hit, so that is 1 wound on you. All right, that's it. Down to the Dawn Guard.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and move into the space and then attack with my guiding strike. That is definitely going to hit.
Yep.
Damage, a 5.
Got a critical on him again.
So that is going to be 1 wound, a put and a push.
All right. So where would you like to push him?
Well, since you guys have yet to go, I'll push him right to you.
Makes
Beautiful.
perfect sense.
And that is my turn.
All right, Knife Feather, finish this guy off.
All right, I'm gonna hit him with piercing strike.
Yes, you are.
11, yes.
So 13 is a hit. That's
5.
critical damage.
And that does 2 damage to him, so he's out.
All right, he is down. So we have very quickly finished the combat tutorial. Now some things were left out of there. There's experience gains, another thing. But that is the basics of combat. So that's going to be it for this video. And signing off here for the Building Geek Cred crew, John DeCook. I appreciate Nick, Sarah, and Chris all joining me today to show you this quick run through of Bardsung. Be sure to follow all the videos in this series as we play the entire campaign through. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.